Now to a CBS 11 investigation. When a North Texas woman's car broke down, she thought her biggest problem would be the repair bill. But then the road ahead got a lot bumpier. And then her car seemed to disappear. That's when she asked investigative reporter Ginger Allen for help.
If you own a vehicle, you probably have felt it, that sinking feeling when something breaks. In Allison Roberts' case, it was the transmission.
It started slipping so badly that we couldn't get it to go down the road. We ended up having it towed to the house.
Her problems were just beginning. In a panic, she turned to the internet and found this website, free towing with repairs. Most repairs completed in 2 days. Maximum price quoted up front.
Oh, it seemed like an answer to my prayers.
When the tow truck driver arrived, he handed her a work order with a lot of fine print.
Whenever you're frantic and you're standing there with the tow truck guy, you're not going to take an hour to read everything.
She now considers that a big mistake. As for that promise of maximum price quote up front, she says the quote of $1,200 more than doubled to $2,600. Roberts negotiated it back down to $2,000, but only after she promised to wire $1,500 to the business ahead of time. As for most repairs completed in 2 days, after 8 weeks with no car in sight, she called the shop manager.
I called Joe to get a status on my car and was told, well, I don't know. I got fired today.
In fact, she found out everybody had been laid off. So she had her husband drive her here to where the shop was supposed to be. But with no sign outside, Roberts couldn't find it.
I don't know if my car's been stolen. After 8 weeks, I don't know if my car's been sold. I'm very worried I'll never see my car again.
She called the police.
The car wasn't stolen, it was always here, it never left the shop.
We found the shop's owner, Larry Duncan, who told us he realizes he took too long to fix Roberts' vehicle.
But that's certainly not contact because you take too long to do the job.
But we've learned she's not the first customer to call police. Grand Prairie officers have been to Duncan's shop at least 25 times on disturbance calls. One officer reported frequent disturbances with customers over price quotes and not allowing customers to inspect their cars without first making cash payments in the thousands of dollars. Denton police also answered disturbance calls triggered by unhappy customers when Duncan had a transmission shop in that city. Despite the complaints, Duncan told me he has plenty of happy customers and that the price only goes up if existing parts can't be rebuilt, as stated in smaller print on his website.
Customers normally don't tell the truth. They tell some of what they're selling is probably true and then another part's not.
After 4 months of waiting, Allison gave up on her Saturn.
I was able to finally get the police to agree it was stolen. And that allowed me to file a police report, which allowed me to turn it in on my insurance.
Now she's driving a new car. And what did we find when we went to Duncan's shop in Grand Prairie?
I just finished the job and I just finished test driving it probably 30 minutes ago. So it's kind of a lot. But we just parked outside with the key in the fuel tank and it runs fine.
This is it. This is Allison Roberts' car. She's been looking for it for months. The shop says it's ready to go.
But even with the transmission fixed, home video days later shows this vehicle isn't going anywhere but a salvage yard until Roberts' insurance company decides what to do with it now.
Now, for this story, we also sat down with the Better Business Bureau to discuss Duncan's shop, and what we learned is it has the lowest possible rating, an F, 69 complaints in the last 3 years. It's advised to consumers, check with the BBB on any company first. You've heard this one before, but I'm telling you, we could never say it enough. Read the fine print. And then also, one more thing I hadn't heard before, the BBB says if the shop doesn't bother to put that sign up front, which is what you saw here, that's potentially a sign you need to beware.
And I think we're all guilty of not checking with the Better Business Bureau until we have a problem.
Right. And sometimes not reading the fine print.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good
Both of
lessons.
those.
Right. Thank you so much, Ginger.